So let's talk about what really makes a PhD student successful. You might have this image of a lone genius, but here's the little secret. It's probably not that. The real answer is way more practical, and it all boils down to having the right tools in your toolkit from day one. When you think about a top-tier scientist, what comes to mind? Is it just raw, natural-born intelligence, or is it something else? Something that you can actually learn and practice and get really, really good at? Let's get into it. There's this romantic idea that success in science is all about raw intelligence. But the reality? It's not. It really hinges on mastering foundational skills. It's one thing to have a brilliant idea, but it's a whole other thing to have the skills to actually see it through using today's powerful tools. Okay, so what's getting in the way for so many students? Well, it turns out there's this hidden hurdle that trips up even the brightest people. It's this incredibly stressful and, honestly, inefficient cycle we can call learning by crisis. Just picture this for a second. Instead of spending their time and brain power on the big, exciting scientific questions, a student is stuck frantically trying to figure out some new software because a deadline is breathing down their neck. They're constantly just reacting to one technical fire after another instead of actually, designing their research. And this reactive mode, it doesn't just slow you down, it kills the creativity that science is built on. And the fallout from this is pretty serious. We're talking about having to rerun entire experiments, which is super expensive. We're talking about months of delays and getting results that you just can't trust. But maybe the worst part is what it does to the student. It just chips away at their self-confidence, making them feel like they don't belong, when the real problem isn't their ability at all. It's the lack of training. So how do we fix this? How do we break the cycle? Well, the solution is all about a strategic shift. Let's call it the power of pre-training. The whole idea is to build that strong technical foundation before the pressure of doing independent research really ramps up. And let me tell you, the payoff is huge. This isn't just a small tweak. It completely transforms the PhD experience. Students save a ton of time. They become independent researchers way faster so they can start leading their own projects sooner. And, of course, their anxiety levels drop. It really changes the whole thing from a journey of survival to one of actual, real discovery. And there's another massive win here. This one's for the entire research team. When everybody in a lab gets the same foundational training right from the start, they all start speaking the same technical language. All of a sudden, asking for help becomes so much easier. Instead of just saying, my code is broken, you can have a real conversation because you all speak R or Python. Collaboration just becomes second nature. Okay, so what are we actually talking about here? What are these foundational skills? Let's open up the Modern Scientist's Toolkit and take a look at some of the key tools being used in agricultural research right now. First up, we've got breathing and genetics. The whole game here is to connect a plant's DNA, that's its genotype, to what it actually looks like and how it performs in the field, which is its phenotype. The goal, of course, is to find and develop the hardiest, most productive crops for the future. And to do that, scientists today are dealing with just oceans of data. That's why they use coding languages like R and Python. These tools are built to run really complex statistical models on massive data sets. They use platforms like Galaxy to manage all that raw sequencing data. And of course, they have to master the actual lab equipment that creates the data in the first place. Knowing how to use these tools from day one is an absolute game changer. Next, let's look at a field that is so important for climate-smart agriculture, crop modeling. This is where scientists basically get to be fortune tellers. They use these incredible computer simulations to run all sorts of what-if scenarios for our future food supply. So what's in the toolbox here? You've got these powerful simulation models like APSIM and DSSAT. These let researchers ask questions like, hey, how will this new corn variety hold up during a major drought in the year 2050? And guess what? Scripting with R or Python is back because it's the only way to efficiently run thousands of these simulations and then make sense of all the data that comes out. And finally, let's check out crop physiology and phenotyping. This is the science of measuring how plants work and what they look like. But today, this isn't just a guy with a clipboard. It's being done at an unbelievable scale with some seriously cool tech. Right, this is where it starts to feel like we're living in the future. Scientists are flying drones with specialized sensors over entire fields to check on plant health from the sky. Then they take all that image data and feed it into machine learning models that can automatically spot the earliest signs of disease or drought.
This is the cutting edge, and it absolutely requires a modern skill set. So here's the big takeaway from all this. These skills, they can't be optional extras anymore. We can't just expect students to pick them up along the way. We really need a major shift to make this kind of training a core, non-negotiable part of every PhD program.
And you know what? The path to get there is pretty clear. Universities can start by creating required courses for all first-year students that cover the basics, things like data management and statistics. Then they can offer more advanced, specialized workshops for students who need to go deeper. The end goal is to create a culture where everyone starts with the same solid, practical foundation. So when all is said and done, what's the ultimate payoff here? What's the big price? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but powerful idea. Less time fighting with your tools, and more time doing actual science. That's it. That's the #1 goal, to free up a student's most valuable asset, their mind, so they can focus on what really matters, asking the big questions and pushing the frontiers of our knowledge. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? When you give students the right tools right from the very beginning, you're not just making their lives easier, you are fundamentally making their science better. And the final impact of that, it goes way beyond the university. It means stronger research. It means fewer dead ends and failed experiments. And ultimately, it means real, genuine contributions to solving some of our planet's biggest problems, like food security and building a more climate-resilient future for all of us. So, we'll leave you with that question to think about. The challenges we're facing are massive, and they're going to require a new generation of scientists who aren't just brilliant thinkers, but are also masters of their craft. Making sure they get that training isn't just a nice idea, it's an absolute necessity. Thanks for joining me.